Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. Afternoon. It's time for a bracing dose of reality, America. This is from John Whitehead of the Rutherford Institute. I'm going to summarize it real quick. This article is all about how everything is over-regulated, over-taxed, and over-criminalized. And there's a particular case that shows the absurdity of this over-regulation, over-criminalization. Okay, so in many states, individuals must apply for permission before they can grow exotic orchids, host elaborate dinner parties, gather friends in one's home for Bible studies, give coffee to the homeless, or let their kids manage a lemonade stand, keep chickens as a pet, or braid someone's hair. There's a case before the Supreme Court about just that. In this particular case, it's about whether one needs a government license in order to braid hair. Can you believe that they're wasting their fucking time on something so petty, so stupid? So basically, your tax dollars are going, in part, for the Supreme Court to hear such absurd, ridiculous cases such as that. In Missouri, anyone wanting to braid African-style hair and charge for it must first acquire a government license, which at a minimum requires the person to undertake at least 1,500 hours of cosmetology, costing tens of thousands of dollars. Tennessee has fined residents nearly $100,000 just for violating its laws against braiding hair without a government license. Almost every aspect of our life today, especially if it's work-related, is subject to this kind of heightened scrutiny and ham-fisted control. Whether you're talking about aspiring bakers, braiders, casket makers, florists, veterinary masseuses, tour guides, taxi drivers, eyebrow threaders, teeth whiteners, and so on. 70 years ago, 1 out of every 20 jobs required a state license. Today, it's almost 1 in 3 American occupations. The problem of over-regulation has become so bad that one analyst notes getting a license to style hair in Washington takes more instructional time than becoming an emergency medical technician or a firefighter. And this is what happens when bureaucrats run the show. The rule of law becomes little more than a cattle prod, forcing the citizens to march lock and step or in lockstep with the government. Overregulation is just the other side of the coin of overcriminalization, that phenomena which everything is rendered illegal and everyone becomes a lawbreaker. And this is the mindset that tried to penalize a fisherman with 20 years in jail for throwing fish that were too small back into the water, and subjected a 90-year-old man to arrest for violating an ordinance that prohibits feeding the homeless. And by the way, in some places, not only can you not feed homeless in public, but you can't even feed them in your fucking house. You can't let them sleep in your house. And both of these incidents happened in Florida, and that should not be a surprise. Florida is no less immune to the problems plaguing the rest of the nation in terms of overcriminalization, incarceration rates, bureaucracy, corruption, and police misconduct. In fact, the Sunshine State has become a poster child for how a place can be transferred into a police state with very little effort. And this is happening in every state. As such, it is representative of what is happening in every state across the nation, where a steady diet of bread and circuses have given rise to oblivious, inactive citizenry content to be ruled over by an inflexible and highly bureaucratic regime. Just a few years back, in fact, Florida officials authorized police raids on barbershops in minority communities, resulting in barbers being handcuffed in front of customers and their shops searched without warrants. All of this was purportedly done in an effort to make sure that the barber's licensing paperwork was up to snuff. Sounds like Germany back during Hitler's reign to me. So, as if criminalizing fishing, charity, parenting decisions, and haircuts wasn't bad enough, you could also find yourself passing time in a Florida slammer for such insane activities as singing in public while wearing a swimming suit, breaking more than 3 dishes per day, farting in a public place after 6 p.m. on a Thursday, and skateboarding without a license. This transformation of the United States from being a beacon of freedom to a lockdown nation illustrates perfectly what songwriter Joni Mitchell was referring to when she wailed, "They paved paradise and put up a parking lot." And these are sold under the guise of safety and security and blah, blah, blah. We've allowed the government to pave over the Constitution in order to erect a concentration camp. You live in a concentration camp. And those of us who get sent to jail, it's not a whole lot different than you just don't get to move as much. You don't get to go as far. But it's pretty much the same. The problem with these devil's bargains, however, is that there is always a catch. Always a price to pay for whatever it is we value so highly as to barter away our most precious possessions. And our right to self-governance, self-defense, privacy, autonomy, and the most important right of all, the right to tell the government, leave me the fuck alone. We've bartered those rights out of existence. And any one of you who thinks there's a constitution, I have shown in 3 videos that this is not the case, that you do not live under constitutional law. And in the end, these things always turn sour. As I make clear in my book, Battlefield America, again, this is John Whitehead's book, The War on the American People, this is what happens when the American people get duped, deceived, double-crossed, cheated, lied to, swindled, and conned into believing that the government and its army of bureaucrats, the people we appointed to safeguard our freedoms, actually have our best interests at heart. Now, these people do not have your best interests at heart. They are sociopaths. They are psychopaths. That is why they are in the positions they're in. It is the sociopaths and the psychopaths that are attracted to power over others. It's like the child molester that goes way out of their way to be around children. So, again, this has got to, we got to end this shit. Otherwise, we will end up in those FEMA camps that were built for us. Do you want that? Do you want what on your head, what was on the Russians' head when the Bolsheviks came around, and how the people of Russia regretted so deeply not fighting back? Do you want that? Well, if you don't want that, then you're going to have to do something about it. I hope you all have a good day. Remember, kill the state before the state kills you.